I'm sorry.
Oh, thank you. I have to turn on a microphone. Thank you. All the tech stuff here. So I think everyone in the room heard me, so we're good there. Trustee Jamil is remote, but he will not be able to vote, but he is participating remotely. So if you could all rise for Pledge of Allegiance, I would appreciate it. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we have two homeowners associations on the agenda. One of them just happens to be a trustee. That's Oakwood Creek HOA, Oak Hills number 5, and Kent Tanucci is here to represent them.
Right.
Oh, you could stood right.
That's
Okay, go ahead.
That way I can see everybody.
All right.
So tonight I'd like to briefly raise 3 issues affecting the Oakwood Creek neighborhood: U-turn safety, pedestrian connectivity, and stop sign enforcement. So first, in the December workshop, we discussed installing curbs along Oakwood Road near Route 83 to discourage the U-turns that are happening there every day, several times a day. So Oakwood Creek residents generally support that improvement, but because the roadway is actually 3 lanes wide just off of 83, the curbs alone most likely will not prevent U-turns. So we will still need pylons, at least a few of them, right adjacent to the intersection to prevent people from making U-turns right there. Second, there's strong support for improving pedestrian connections between neighborhoods. In that same workshop, we discussed engineering studies to extend a pathway north along Route 83. So Oakwood Creek residents definitely support moving forward with those studies. Third, there are frequent violations of the 2 stop signs on Oakwood Road, and this remains a serious safety concern. This is nothing new. It's been going on for years, but it is progressively getting worse. I have to say, many violators appear to be residents or guests from Heron's Landing. Because sight lines are limited, vehicles and pedestrians traveling northbound on Oakwood Circle face a real risk of being T-boned. There's been little to no enforcement at this intersection. Oakwood Creek residents are respectfully asking the village to review these 2 intersections and consider additional enforcement or safety measures. That's it. Thank you. Any questions for me?
Can I ask a question about the pylons? So you're asking for more pylons? Is that what you're saying?
What we're asking is to take measures to prevent U-turns. The curbs will definitely help once you go, say, 100 feet past the intersection. But the first 100 to 150 feet is 3 lanes wide. So even with curbs, there's still enough room to make a U-turn there. That's why I'm saying for that first, say, 100 feet or so, you probably still will need something in the middle to stop people from making U-turns there.
Okay.
So in short, instead of needing pylons all the way down to the first driveway, you might need them for just for 100 feet or so.
Thank you. And then I'm sure the sheriff heard the concerns about the stop signs too. So, yeah, thank you. Is anyone from Cobblestone here, online or in person? Brian Clark? There's nobody raising their hand, so online. Okay. We're going to move to public comment. Now, here's how I'd like to do it. If your item is in regards to the zoning relief for the mulch center, we're going to allow that public comment right before they speak and before the board discusses it. So we'll save it for then. If your item is for other public comment, not regarding the mulch center, please provide that now.
My name is Benjamin Matthew from 4369 Oakleaf Lane here in the village. My first question is, has there been any status updates on the special use application for 4359 Illinois 22? And my second issue is probably more of a statement. For the property nearby the corner of Old McHenry Road and Illinois 22 that's proposed to become a doggy park, my concern is a lot of the buildings on that property are very getting to the point they're very badly deteriorated and they may fall down. And putting aside the whole issue of the future use of the property, perhaps the village should encourage the owner to demolish those structures so they no longer are a hazard or something that makes our village look very bad. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to comment on both?
No update on 4359.
What about the structures? Are some of those structures getting reused?
I think they would all be coming down as part of the
Okay,
application.
okay. Thank you for that feedback. Other public comment? Yep. Jeff Wilson?
Setting up, as I understand. Also, could you, Mike?
Is it on now?
Yeah.
Better? Okay, great. Yeah, as I understand it, there are going to be 98 units, and then each unit would pay for 1/98 of the cost. And I'm just wondering if that is something that's an elective thing. I know the reason that the previous proposal, it was something that the subdivision had to decide whether they wanted to accept it or not. And I don't know if that's still the case here.
I think the correction is the fire protection district is fully financing the extension of the water main. The people in the nearby residences will have the option to connect to Lake Michigan water on that water main. It'll be constructed to allow that connection. And
Okay,
if they do, each individual connection will carry with it a connection cost, which will then, part of what's on the agenda tonight is to approve a recapture that. So when the fire protection district who financed the extension will be able to recapture some of those costs when other people connect.
okay.
So you're not being summarily, no one's being charged anything. Fire protection district is paying 100% of it.
So it's something that we would have the option to decide. The homeowners would be able to decide
It would be up to you.
if the majority wanted it, then it would go forward. And
Exactly.
I assume that there would be some, in addition to building the pipe over there would be a connection fee also. And then the individual homes would have to be metered, probably. And
Yes, there would be one fee proportioned out to related to the total cost. That usually the connection fee is often paid over time. There's lots of ways to finance
Yeah.
that. That's sort of we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But again, it's optional.
Yeah.
And then yes, once you actually have a connection, then there would be a water meter to pay for the Lake Michigan water.
yeah, and another concern, I guess we would have to talk with our engineers about this. We use Gowalt Hamilton engineer firm to oversee our system, is that we have 4-inch mains over our main line is a 4-inch main. If that is sufficient to connect to this larger municipal line.
I would defer to the engineer on the main thing, but
I don't know if the engineer would know off the top of his head whether that's possible or not.
Well, yeah, I don't know off the top of my head, Jeff, but I do know that Manager Sparkman and myself have had some conversations, and we are currently sifting through and updating the village's water model to answer that very question.
Okay, yeah, that's a big question for us. Okay, I think that answers all my
What was
questions.
the first question again?
What-
Oh, okay. So the questions were answered. Okay. Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
got it. Thank you.
yes, questions are answered by the attorney. Thank you.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Any other public comment? If not, we'll move to the public safety report, which I understand we don't have one. Thank you for that great report. It's better to not have one. Moving to the consent agenda, there's several items on it. One is the bill warrant or pay warrant for the February 2026. Approval of the village board meeting minutes from our February 24th meeting. There's one change that was updated on the electronic package. but the guy that gave the presentation for that new subdivision, his name was Moses, but his last name was spelled with a K, and it's Cookerman with a C, and I think there was an M missing too. So that's been updated. And then there's an application for the fee waiver for a raffle for the Kildare Countryside School District, PTO. And then there's changes to the zoning map. The changes were as follows: the South 15 to HR1, and then the Salem Lake parcel. The building was office, and so the zoning change in the map is to make it all office. So those are the items in the consent agenda. Any questions, or does somebody want to make a motion to approve? Moved by trustee O'Connor. Seconded by trustee Harris. Roll call.
Trustee O'Connor. Trustee Harris. Trustee Gayton.
He's not here.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
I'll say yes.
Yeah, you're missing one.
I also want to note that I appreciate staff's adding the EIN registration number on the form for the first time. Really, it was noticed and I looked it up. Thank you.
All right, so motion carried. Moving along, we have a waiver for a waiting period for a demolition permit at 4272 Sunshine Lane. I guess this house is in disrepair. There was a staff memo on it. Does anyone have any questions?
No question. I just wanted to thank staff for proactively checking for asbestos.
So do you want to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Tanucci, seconded by
Borowski.
trustee Borowski. Roll call.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Harris.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor.
Okay, motion carried. For items 10 and 11, I'm going to ask our village attorney to brief us on those.
Yes, this is coming back before you. This issue has been discussed several times for the village board. As the village board knows, there is a longstanding boundary agreement with the village of Hawthorne Woods that allows us to adjust the jurisdictional boundaries of the two communities by agreement. This is one such agreement, and so this particular adjustment de-annexes a portion of Long Grove into Hawthorne Woods, and for reasons I believe you all are very familiar with. This was prepared at the direction of the village board, and the agreement is consistent with prior direction of the village board. If any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Any questions? So I guess we'll take these are handled together, right? So
Right.
resolution for the intergovernmental agreement. Anyone might want to make a motion to approve?
So
Okay, moved by trustee Harris, seconded by trustee Tanucci. Roll call.
Trustee Harris.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor. Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Now the other one is the ordinance approving the jurisdictional boundary lines.
yeah, this is part of the same item. So the agreement provides for these adjustment boundary lines. The ordinance actually effectuates it. That's the thing we record with the county. So this is part and parcel of what we just approved.
Somebody want to make a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Tanucci. Seconded by trustee O'Connor. Roll call, please.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor. Aye. Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee Harris.
Okay, motion carried. This is a resolution for an intergovernmental agreement with the fire station. This is to bring the water to the fire station. I don't know if you want to add any color or commentary.
So this is an IGA with the Fire Protection District, as we briefly discussed during public comment. The Fire Protection District originally wanted to have this as an SSA. Eventually, the Fire Protection District said, we'll just pay for it. So the way this agreement is structured is the village will oversee and bid and do the actual, administer the actual construction. The Fire Protection District will pay for it upfront. And then at the end of the construction period, if the Fire Protection District paid too much, we will refund that money. If they didn't pay enough, there will be a true up. Ultimately, the goal is to connect the new fire station to Lake Michigan water. This will also provide for a recapture for nearby properties that if they want to connect to this, there will be a recapture fee that will go back to the Fire Protection District as the ones who financed this. So if people do connect, they will get partial or some reimbursement for it. And this IGA provides for that agreement.
Questions or discussion from the trustees? Yep.
Yeah,
Trustee
just a
Browski?
question. So I'm just kind of thinking through that. So what if the water study that we discussed previously at our workshop and which we haven't yet really executed on, but what if that water study comes back and says we should run this further north up 83, the water line, or across 83 or something? Would that mean that any future person who heads in would be subject to recapture to the Fire Protection Board, or would they have the option to connect into the water pipe through a different vehicle directly with the village?
The only people who are subject to recapture are the two HOAs that are identified in the agreement itself, and they listed actual units of who would be subject. This wouldn't be generally applicable.
Okay, I see. Very good. Thank you.
Well,
But
So
what would,
within the HOA, they'll vote on, the individual HOA is going to vote on whether.
That's my presumption. Yeah, however the HOA wants to approve or disapprove this, it's up to them.
And you were saying before there's going to be an opt-out. So even if a certain development votes to be part of the district and get the connection, will individual homeowners be able to opt out, or is that yet not been determined?
That's beyond the scope of this agreement. I mean, if it,
Yeah, but this is just allowing the fire department to recapture if somebody connects to the water system that they brought across the road, so they can recover some of their money. That's all it is.
a follow-up question on that if I can. So I'm still not sure I'm clear. So would that mean that we, the village, that can we or can we not connect to that water stub that is north of Aptekissick, or do we need to run a separate one?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay, so we run we make the connection under Aptekissick to the other side to the firehouse, right? So now they've got a stub sitting there, a pipe or a connection or something. Does that mean we are no longer allowed to connect to that? Because the recapture agreement's only Briarcrest and the other whatever development, right?
yeah, that's when,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Or do we need to run another pipe right in parallel with that one to
no,
get
I
water?
mean, I don't think there was any plans to make that connection. If there was, I'm sure we could amend and provide for some sort of connection there. That was just something that was beyond the scope of this agreement. The agreement's silent on that.
So we took a right turn and went to the Malt Center as an example. Could we do that? Or do we?
Yeah, we build more pipe. Yes.
Well, we'd have to build more pipe, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, the question is, can we have additional connections beyond what's defined in this agreement? I'm assuming the answer is yes.
Yes.
Right,
yes, we
that's my
can.
question.
Yeah.
Right, I assume that this is designed to allow, the connections that this is designed to allow are provided for in the agreement. Now, if there's additional connections, I'm assuming we would add more pipe and it would be a completely different.
And then the other thing is you'd have to have enough capacity to handle all those additional connections, which
Get that.
is the other issue. So you have a limit on how much, right? But the pipe was, village engineer, tell us how big the pipe is and why it's so big and what you think it can do.
Well, here, I'll say this first though. So the recapture agreement is based on what's called benefited properties, and that's the two HOAs that are identified in it. And those are commonly the properties that are the closest and could make the quote unquote easiest connections. Okay. Is that to say that, a property on the north side of Long Grove can never connect to this pipe? No. It's kind of similar to some of you guys may remember the sanitary sewer that Menards put in 15, 20 years ago. It was the same type of thing, that there's the overall map of benefited properties. And here we are 20 years later, most of them have not connected to it for some of the same reasons and discussion that we've just had. But also conversely, even though there's those benefited properties, can somebody else that's not in those benefited properties connect to that trunk line that Menards put in? The answer to that is yes. However, that would involve more pipe, pump stations, things of that nature to connect to it. So like I said, the benefited properties are those that are the closest and the easiest to connect. But outside of that, you still can connect. So going back to the water main, we put it in, we've modeled it that it can support the connection to those benefited properties. Can it be extended past that? Yes. But that would likely require, booster pumps and things like that to get additional pressures to areas that are outside or, an expanded service area, if you will.
Chris, did your question get answered? You don't look like it did.
Yeah, no, it did. It just, of course, it spurs more questions going, should we have a plan for additional capacity on that connection? Should we want to run further beyond Briarcrest and the development to be determined on the corner? Just a question, because to Jeff's point, we would come back 3 years later and go, oh crap, we could use some more water up the road, one road or the other, and we've got to start not all over, but another significant investment. Anyway, just random thought, I guess. The other thing I was thinking about earlier in the comments, public comments about Briardale and Briarcrest, whether or not they have to be metered. I guess from my perspective, do we care whether, if that connection were to happen, can't we just install one big meter and let Briarcrest worry about how they want to pay for it? Or do we have to go through every house and install a new meter, which adds further cost to each homeowner?
Both options would work.
Okay, I see. Okay, thank you. No, I'm good. Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Somebody willing to make a motion to approve? Maybe Trustee Borowski?
No, I will, because this is something we need to do, and the Fire Protection District and us have an agreement to do this. So I think we need to do it. So I'll go ahead and make that motion.
All right, thank you. Second by Trustee Tucci. All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Borowski,
Aye.
trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Trustee Harris.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor. Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Now, the sister agreement to this is we've got a bid that's expiring on Friday. It's a very good bid. And this would be to actually construct the water main and take it to where the new fire station is going to be. The amount of the bid is $878,825. The fire station obviously is paying for this, right? But we're the ones that are signing the contract for it. I don't know if there's any questions on that. We want to make a motion to approve? Moved by Trustee Harris.
Second.
Second by Trustee Tanucci. Roll call.
Trustee Harris.
Aye.
Trustee Tanucci.
Aye.
Trustee Borowski.
Aye.
Trustee O'Connor. Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Now that moves us to the section on the discussion about a special use permit and zoning relief for the property located at 5163 Aptekissick Road, known as the Mulch Center. So what we want to open it up is we want to open it up for public comment first. And then we are going to allow the applicant to make a presentation, a brief presentation. We're going to try to keep the public comment 10 minutes, 3 minutes maximum. So I don't know who is going to speak, but you need to go to the podium to speak. So please state your name and so forth.
Sure. Yeah. Hi. My name is Julie Workman. I'm a partner at the law firm Saul Ewing. This is my partner, Steve Malitz. He's handing out some materials that we gave to the Plan Commission at ZBA back in 2025, just for reference. And I'm going to try to talk really fast because I know we're limited in time and we want to get out before the hailstorm that hit my house in LaGrange earlier hits here. So we represent the Briarcrest Homeowners Association, which is comprised of 69 homes located just north of Aptekissick. Briarcrest is also located immediately adjacent to the Mulch Center at 5163 Aptekissick Road. Our firm was engaged to represent Briarcrest in opposition to any potential expansion of the Mulch Center's operations. Frankly, we oppose their operations altogether, given that they operate what is essentially an unpermitted, noxious industrial use in a residential community. The Mulch Center's property is located, as you know, in the R2 residential district, where the only permitted uses of property are homes, agricultural, open space, and video gaming. Industrial uses are notably not on that list. However, last year, the Mulch Center applied for a special use permit to expand their so-called agricultural operations. Section 532B of the Village Code defines agriculture as growing of crops. Commercial agriculture requires a minimum of 10 contiguous acres and is subject to various other setback and location requirements. That's it. Furthermore, any expansion of an agricultural use requires a special use permit per section 5910 of the code. An expansion would allow 1, the raising of livestock and poultry, 2, nurseries, and 3, experimental farms. Not really sure what those are either, but that's it. So the truth is, an industrial use like a commercial mulch grinding and trucking operation is none of those things. And industrial uses are not permitted anywhere in the village of Long Grove. The PCZBA discussed this matter at their November 18th, 2025 meeting. At that meeting, they heard very compelling testimony that the extraordinary pollution, noise, debris, dust, earth vibration, and stench coming from the Mulch Center as it currently operates before any expansion has made living in their neighborhood miserable. They can't keep their doors and windows open in nice weather. Their pools and landscaping are constantly covered in smelly dust. They and their children are suffering from any number of severe respiratory ailments. And as an aside, in those materials that we just handed out, there are a handful of articles about the detrimental health effects of breathing in mulch, debris, and dust. And now the Mulch Center is looking for basically a free pass so that they can make the situation worse when they shouldn't even really be operating in the first place. The long and short of it is that they're an industrial facility and it spews noise, debris, and stench into our clients' homes. It's not an agricultural use, and it is certainly not one that should be expanded. After the November meeting, it came to our attention that the Mulch Center had been issued EPA violation notices. Even if they are able to satisfy the EPA with their plan to address those violations, it will be a Band-Aid on a bullet wound at best. We do not think that their plans come close to addressing the concerns of the neighbors that were raised at that meeting in November. I would also point out that the plans look surprisingly, or maybe unsurprisingly, similar to other plans that the Mulch Center had submitted in the past in connection with violations in other municipalities. Indeed, over the past few months, we have submitted a number of FOIA requests to the IEPA, Lake County, and other municipalities just to try to learn more about these mulch operations and what effect they have on communities. And we came across a number of complaints that are very similar to our clients. And some of those examples of those are in your packets. Just very quickly, in 2020, a complaint was made in North Chicago, which stated, the Mulch Center's bulk production site at 3023 23rd Place and surrounding blocks produces huge mountains of mulch every day, including Saturday and Sunday. During their operations, mulch dust falls all over residential areas, contaminating food and drink. There is an abundance of published scientific evidence of disease caused by wood dust and the chemicals produced by mulch. The bad smell, dust, noise, and risk of fires are the most obvious vexing problems, but the less obvious effects are those on health and life expectancy. Pollution travels long distances, and many are not even aware of being exposed. Similarly, back in 2007, a concerned constituent of Riverwoods wrote to Lake County's permit coordinator and zoning administrator saying, because of the increase in mulching of that facility over the last several years, the noise generated by this process has become offensive and disruptive to the residents of the nearby residential properties. According to the Riverwoods resident in that case, the Mulch Center had been granted a conditional use permit for a greenhouse/nursery center under general estate zoning. It's very much in parallel to what we're looking at here. There was no greenhouse or nursery on that property. just a mulch facility. Sounds kind of familiar. Indeed, other communities classify mulching operations as landscape waste facilities that are high intensity and that are intensive industrial uses. They aren't agricultural, nursery, or greenhouses. Earlier today, we emailed to staff, and you now have just a portion of the hundreds of pages of FOIA documents that we received over the past couple months. It seems like the MO of the Mulch Center is to ask for forgiveness and not permission. And that's just not right when you're operating next to people's homes. While we have been advised that this matter is not up for a vote tonight, we know it is up for discussion. We urge you to consider the concerns of Briarcrest in your discussion tonight. And if and when this matter does come up for a vote, that you heed the wise recommendations of the PCZBA and deny the Mulch Center's request for the special use permit. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Other public comment? Yeah, please, if you'll get up to the podium. We got a few minutes left, so we'll let you.
Christina Jung at 5172 Aptekissick. And I think I gave her an indication of what it does to your brain, the particles. It can lead to Alzheimer's in the future. And the reason I'm getting up is I have a problem with my eye, which I have a feeling has something to do with all the dust particles in the air. I'm having shots in my eye, and I've had 8 of them so that I may be able to see in the future. So please really pay attention to what's in our community.
Thank you for your comments. We've got time for a little more if anyone has a comment.
Hello, my name is Eugene Kisenka. I live right across the street, 5162 Aptekissick. So I might say I quite directly affected by the operations of this business, which was operating for quite a long time, as we learned, but it intensified within the last 2 years. And what I can say, in addition to what's already been presented, that for consideration, at least twice, I had to take my wife to emergency room last year because she had asthma, and we used to sleep with the open windows, but we was not able to do so because of the smell and the dust that's coming up. Again, besides the cost, it's also emotional distress that we're living under. So that certainly, as attorney has already presented, it is an industrial use in the residential area, and I can't even imagine how it can be allowed to disturb and violate our rights for quiet enjoyment of living there, because I know that residents in Long Grove purchase their home specifically for the reasons we not even allow lights to be on the streets just to be able to enjoy the stars. But how we can go out, my mama, she can't even go out for more than 5 minutes. She's saying like, I can't breathe. She has to go back home. She likes to stay outside. She's 87, will be like in a couple of weeks. So that's certainly not an acceptable enterprise within the residential area. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Yeah, room for one more?
Our legal representative really covered it extensively. I would just say, personally, I think I've mentioned it before, I'm an avid runner. I like to go out and run in the subdivision. It's a nice, safe, quiet place to get your mileage in. I have had a hard time doing that in the last year or two. Even walking out to the mailbox, and I'm a half a mile away from Aptekissick Road at the very end of Wakefield. And my wife too said, I can't walk out there on Hilltop anymore. It's especially during the day when the operation is in full blown. And I think at the testimony that we gave at the zoning commission, I was particularly moved by a woman who got up and talked about her son having these severe attacks, breathing attacks and everything. And she just started sobbing and to the commission said, can't What about the children? What about our children? And I think my heart stopped when she said that. So I won't belabor the point, but it's a serious concern. This is not just a little bit of an inconvenience or annoyance. It's much more than that.
Thank you for your comments. I'm going to stop the public comment, but I'm going to let Village Attorney Pickerel to make a remark too.
Thank you, President Jacob. Yeah, part of the reason I wanted to jump in real quick, just explain, what's being asked of the village board this evening. This application comes with a bit of a unique posture, so I felt the need to explain myself. So this, as Attorney Workman noted, this is up only for a discussion this evening. No action is being taken. So what we're going to ask at the end is to get some direction of the sense of the board. So normally what happens with a special use permit is it will go for the plan commission, and then there'll be a recommendation, and then the village board will make the final determination. This is a little different because we did get that recommendation, and there was a review by the IEPA. And then since that time, I've understood from the applicant, they've actually started to construct some mitigation efforts. So the PCZBA gave a negative recommendation, in part because of the harmful effects or alleged harmful effects on the neighboring properties. And so the applicant on their own began to try to mitigate those. And there's a series of things that they're trying to do, which I'll let the applicant describe. I understand that they are ongoing and that they have not been completed yet. So for that reason, I understand the applicant has asked for no decision tonight, which we will not be giving one because it's not up for that. But whether or not we can ultimately defer this matter to a future village board date. We can defer this matter to a board date, and then, we can also make a decision, up or down on this application. Or the third option is we can refer this back to the plan commission. If we feel as though the facts are different enough that it's worthy of their reconsideration, we can do that too. Ultimately, it will come back to us in the end, and the village board will make the final decision. So that at the end of this discussion, we'll be looking for just some direction to staff and how you'd like us to proceed. And with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. Kingsley, who's the applicant's attorney.
Yeah, the same time limitations too. So.
Hi, I'm Adam Kingsley. I'm the attorney for the Mold Center. With me is Jim Settleman, who's the owner of the Mold Center, and Jimmy Settleman, who's going to talk specifically about one of our mitigation efforts. I'd like Jim to come up and just kind of talk about the relationship between the Mold Center and the village of Long Grove, and sort of how you fit into the fabric of the village.
Thank you for allowing us. I've been in Long Grove. Arch and Helen Golding started leasing the property to me over 20 years ago, and we started farming it, and we started amending the soil to help reduce their taxes. And from that, we started growing pumpkins and taking organics, primarily wood chips and leaves, and letting them break down and chiseling them into the soil. And we were there for roughly about 5 years, and we had some issues, and it was brought to the court, and it was decided that we were legally doing what we were doing. We did tighten our operations up, and over the years our operations have expanded. And unfortunately, it was said, I think twice, that over the past 2 years is when things kind of got out of hand. I blame that on two things. One, for 2 years, they were building that road. We have a letter that I leased part of the property to Lake County Grading that rebuilt Aptekistick, and it was a 2-year process. And they were storing materials on our site, sand, gravel, different things, and our mulch expanded dramatically. And so those two reasons, our footprint was a lot larger than it had previously been the past 20 years. Some of the things that we have tonight, someone had notified the EPA, and there's a number of things that we can do to minimize
Yeah, so Jim, let's talk about the mitigation efforts, to address the concerns that we heard at the Plan Commission. First of all, I don't know whether we've got the slide showing sort of our new operations. And I want to make it clear that this is not actually an expansion of our operations. We're actually consolidating our operations on a very small part of the property. That's a dark blue. That's where the chipping operations will occur, and that's where the noise and the dust is we've been told is coming from. The rest of the property, including the property in the far east where the big pumpkins are grown, are strictly agricultural. And you can see also we're building a couple of berms that will help with the mitigation, but we're going past simply the building of berms. So this is not an expansion. This is a consolidation. And we were asked to file a special use permit or a request for a special use permit, which is exactly what we did. At the same point in time as we were in front of the Plan Commission, we got a visit from the Illinois EPA. And we got a letter from the Illinois EPA. And in response to that, what we're doing is we're filing an application to join the EPA's ROSS program, ROSS, which is Registration of Small Sources. And as part of that, we've got a fugitive dust plan, and I'll get to that. But the point is that we're going to be in compliance. We expect to be in compliance with the IEPA, and we also are taking specific measures to reduce the noise and the dust. Jim is going to talk about how we're going to handle the noise part, and then Jimmy's going to talk about how we're going to handle the dust part. And I think we've got a couple of slides that go along with that. So we've got okay, those are some of the pumpkins that we've grown. Okay, so this is actually our chipping machine.
It's the proper name is called a horizontal grinder. It's a rotor chopper B66. It's utilized to downsize wood waste. And these are the materials that come in are wood chips from local arborists, municipalities. We do the local country clubs recycling of their chips. And they're ground down into a smaller size.
So talk about what we're going to do to deal with the noise that this machine produces. And I think the next slide sort of gets to that.
This is called a hospital chamber exhaust silencer. It's why it's a hospital grade. They're used in generators next to hospitals where it's paramount. The noises are minimal. We have a company through Caterpillar that is currently building it, and it's expected to be completed actually this week and shipped out shortly after. Yeah, this is a letter from Altorfer Cat that shows that it was ordered. We have not received it yet. But we expect it, any day, and then we'll take that machine to this facility. They'll put it on. They say it'll take about a week to build, and so that should help, mitigate the noise. They assure me this is the best thing we can do to reduce the noises. And at the previous meetings, that was one of the big concerns was the noise issues. So.
And Jimmy, if you could come up and talk about what our plan is to deal with the dust. And this is actually part of the plan that we've submitted to the Illinois EPA, which is under review right now. Trinity is was our environmental consultant. They helped put together the plan. And Jimmy's going to kind of explain what exactly we intend to do regarding the dust issue.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Seckelman. I work with the Mole Center, and I'd like to talk about how we plan to address one of the primary concerns, which is dust and odor. And we plan on using a dust suppression misting system called the Buffalo Turbine. It's already currently being used at our North Chicago facility. And I have a short video here showcasing the unit, but I'll note that these examples in the video represent a wide range of applications and environments, many of which are significantly more demanding than our facility.
So that's the mister, which is shooting what, water, Jimmy?
Yes, it's atomized water. So as the droplets collide with the airborne particulates, they add weight and cause them to settle back quickly to the ground before they can migrate beyond the work area. In some of the controlled studies of the atomized mist, it's referred to as a fog curtain. Researchers measured dramatic reductions, up to 85 to 95% in reduction. So by using these fugitive dust mitigation units, these fog cannons can help dramatically reduce the airborne particulates.
So the bottom line is, don't just take our word for it. We're going to have the muffler. We're not going to begin operations until this spring, until the muffler is installed, and then we've already got the mister unit, and so once we begin operations, we'll employ the mister unit. And and I guess I say, don't take our word for it. Have somebody from the board come out and examine our operations once we've got these noise, dust, and there's an odor component as well that the mist will help take care of. So we'd like to show you exactly what we're doing, and we'd like to show that we've addressed the concerns that the neighbors have regarding the externalities from this, which I think is a very worthy and environmentally helpful operation. It's certainly not an expansion of the use. This is not an industrial use. The Mold Center has been there for 20 years, longer than some of the residents. But we understand that the residents have legitimate concerns regarding sound and dust, and we're taking steps to address those. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. All right, we'll turn it back to the board for discussion. Trustee Browski, you got that mic all ready to go.
Yeah, because thank you for that presentation, by the way. I appreciate it. In your slide you showed the mister, and you also showed an air compressor next to it, which prompted the question, like, what's powering the mister and what's the sound pressure level of the mister? Like, is it fan driven? Is it compressor driven? And how does that add to the overall sound issue that we're currently having?
All gasoline motor that
That's a lot of specs, but I was really curious about the sound pressure level. So
I can't hear on online. So if
you need to
speaking to
answer
the mic,
questions,
Sean, please.
Yeah, thank you.
We're getting comments online. Sorry.
Yeah, we were speaking about the Buffalo turbine, and the question was, will that unit generate noise that could be offensive to the neighbors? And I would answer that question as no. We utilize the same unit in North Chicago, and I could get the decimal level. I don't have it, but it's way less than the big grinder. For the big grinder is about 1,000 horsepower, and this was 27 horsepower. 23. So it's 23 horsepower. So it's probably, so.
I understand. My riding lawnmower is 22 horsepower, so I understand the rough approximation of that. So essentially, it's a lawnmower running in addition to your grinder.
That's correct.
Okay. And what are your proposed hours of operation, or what would you guys like to see if there was some compromise somewhere out there? Like, what would be your minimum hours of operation to make this thing viable?
I think for the grinding portion, we were asking just Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. I believe that's what was in our proposal.
Thank you.
Mr. Tanucci?
How many locations do you have that perform these grinding and storage type operations,
We have 4.
including Long Grove?
Yeah.
All right. And
Well,
then,
that would be considered 5, excuse me.
okay, so 5 total, including
5 total.
Long Grove. As far as this mister is concerned, how much water does that use? Gallons per minute, gallons per hour?
It runs on a garden hose, normal, I think that's 7 gallons, 6, 7 gallons a minute. And we have 2 wells on site. There's two homes, so we would hook it up to one of the home's water home.
And then would you be using this mister the entire time that you're open? I think, believe you said 8 to 4, Monday through Friday.
If we find it not necessary on days in North Chicago where it's not windy. So it would be utilized kind of regularly, but as needed.
Certainly whenever there's manufacturing or processing of mulch materials, we would absolutely use it.
I've read some of the comments of the neighbors, and besides noise and particulate, they were also complaining about the odors. What are you proposing to do about the odors?
So the odors, so to give you background, odor molecules travel as airborne particles and gases. And so the atomized water droplets are very fine, and they capture and pull them down as they settle to the ground. So it's kind of a 2-in-1 where as it suppresses the dust, it also can capture and minimize that odor as well.
I'm not sure I believe that. We've all used mulch. I know what it smells like after you put it down. I know how much more it smells when it's wet. All right, so you're misting from 8 to 4, or maybe not the whole time. What about the other 16 hours a day and the weekends? The mulch is still sitting there smelling. What do you do about that?
If we have piles, and piles can get hot and go anaerobic, and there's odors that they put off. And the remedy to do that is to lower the piles. We go in and take a wheel loader or an excavator and cut little strips, not cut, but create openings, and so oxygen can get in there, and that knocks the odor right down. And there's also spray that can be put in, and there's a product that's called Sargent Odor. It's a company, and it's made out of grape, the outers of grapes. So it's a natural product, and we use it a few times in North Chicago if we've had this, and then we get in there right away and knock it down. So we can cover odors, but we have to be diligent about it.
All right, no other questions at this time?
Trustee O'Connor? Microphone probably. Yeah.
Do you use these products at any of your other locations?
Pardon me?
Do you use these products at any of your other locations?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. It's so we make 2 products. One is called Classic Mulch. Oh, yeah, the grinders and the spray. Yes, we do.
All of the other locations,
No, it's
North Chicago?
just well, two of the locations. The 2 main manufacturing yards, which is North Chicago and Bolo. We have a 50-acre site up there, and we deploy the same process.
Are either, these are just questions. I don't have any motive here except information. Are there residential areas near either of those 2 locations?
North Chicago has a 800-foot strip of homes just to the north of us, closer than the homes next to us on Aptekissick. To take care of that, we built a berm and planted trees on it. And since that has been up, we have received no complaints from any of the neighbors in North Chicago. And that berm is, again, about 800 feet long. The berm that was started and is still standing at Aptekissick. We're kind of shoring it up a little bit and haven't planted any trees there yet, but that's what's proposed to protect the neighbors. The same thing that we have in North Chicago.
What happens to the dust, the particulate, once it's dampened? Does it fall to the ground? Does it disappear?
They fall back onto the ground where mulch is. And if you look at the drawing in yellow, you'll see we're kind of confined into maybe a 5% or so area on the site where we actually do this grinding. We're not going any other locations on the site. So we're in the lowest area of the site and the farthest away that it will work to do the grinding portion of it. And
That's the Long Grove location.
that's the Long Grove site, yes.
So the particulate,
They just fall right in that area that we're grinding at.
okay.
So,
And what is your season?
well, April, May, and June, and part of July are our busiest seasons. When everybody puts mulch down, and the rest of the time raw materials are coming in, and periodically we do grinding, and so it's probably our busy season, spring, summer, and fall. And wintertime, the only thing we do in wintertime, we monitor temperatures, we check rotors, and if we have to go in there, and a couple of times this winter we went in and did some mitigation, and none of the neighbors called or anything. We did our thing and kept some of the temperatures. We want the temperatures to be at about 140 to 160 degrees for the microbes to work and break them down, and that's what Mother Nature does for us. When they get higher than that, we need to open it up and cool the piles down.
So your active season, would it be fair to say, is March through Thanksgiving?
Yeah. That's after that, we're pretty well shut down. That's correct.
That's all I have for now.
My questions were answered.
Discussion from the board. Where do you want to go with this?
I'd like to read this. I'd like to read what's in here.
Oh, I did read I read all these online in the
Okay.
board packet, so.
I think make one comment about, and we just saw these tonight, some of the materials we just saw this afternoon, the FOIA requests. I think there's some materials regarding complaints against the mulch center. I just want to make it clear that what you were given were selective materials. In fact, in each of the situations where there was a complaint made, and some of these date back to 2007, they've all been resolved. And most significantly, again, with the North Chicago facility, we got a visit from the IEPA there back in 2021. We joined the Ross program. We submitted a fugitive dust plan that was similar to the one that we've just submitted to the IEPA for this site. And again, since that time, we've received a clean bill of health from the IEPA and no complaints for neighbors. So I just want to make it clear that you've been given selective information regarding various complaints and haven't been given the information regarding the resolution of each of those issues.
Thank you for that. Bringing it back to the board. You would like time to read some of the materials?
Well, I think this is the document I was not able to open in the packet. And
Okay, yeah.
there was one document I couldn't open.
Yeah, this is new, but a lot of the complaints that are in here were online. so-
Oh, I see, I see. Okay.
Mr. President, Dr. Jamil has his hand raised, but he can't unmute himself. He is a presenter.
Can you unmute yourself, Dr. Jamil?
Can you guys hear me? I have a two-part questions for the applicant. One
Please.
is about the VOCs, which can impact the indoor air pollution and health issues which the residents are primarily concerned about. So does the Illinois EPA cited any violation on your behalf, and what are the mitigating factors for that? Number one. Number two, I have a question regarding whether this mulch attracts the pests and rodents, and is that a cause of concern in the past, or whether the residents have raised any objections about the increased activity of those?
Again, with respect to the IEPA, we just submitted our application materials to the IEPA last week to join the Ross program, and that includes the proposed fugitive dust plan. And so we're hoping that the IEPA will determine that our plan for knocking down the particulates is legitimate. So we're waiting to hear back from the IEPA. Jim, I guess I'll let you answer questions about rodents.
Yes, sir. I personally have not witnessed any rodents. I know we have coyotes frequent the place, so maybe they are doing a good job, but it has never been an issue.
Did I answer your question, Trustee Jamil?
Thank you. Yeah.
I have another question.
Please.
I guess I'm going to zero in on North Chicago, since that's the only other site that has residential in the immediate area. Can you tell me what the complaint level has been since you instituted these mitigators?
Zero. Since I think it was 2020, 2021. Since we instituted the Ross program, there have been no homeowner complaints, no city complaints.
Regarding the resident whose wife can't go outside and this lady with the eye issues. I'm not a physician. I don't know, but those kinds of things concern me for the residents. Just by any chance, do you have any sort of data regarding those kinds of physical ailments that people experience before and after these?
I do not, and I know other competitors in my industry and have traveled through many states, and I'm not familiar with any persons having problems with eyes. If you walk through the forest preserve, walk down the trails, there's dust particulates from trees, from the leaves, from dust, dirt in the ground, and some people are allergic to those things. I feel for this lady, but I'm not aware that our mulch that goes around thousands, tens of thousands of homes every year causes any damage. I'm just, and I'm not a doctor either, so. Pardon me? Thank you. It's what we're dealing, the materials is 100% organic. It's all from nature, all plants that grow. We downsize them and let them sit and, reintroduce them, recycle them, and it's put back into nature. We grow giant pumpkins. Last year, we grew over 1,000-pound pumpkin that was grown in the organic rich soil. So it's very, very fertile. We sell to a lot of homes in Long Grove. Our planting bed mix, our top dressing. We have a spring blend. We make a certified playground mulch. Not all at that facility, but those are some of the products we make, and it's 100% from wood, and it's all organic, for 100% from nature's plants. And so I believe in my heart that what we're doing is good. We're taking what may end up in landfills and recycling it, and it's reused and repurposed, and it's a clean business. So would hope that the board would see that, what we're doing, give us a chance to try these new proposals with the Buffalo turbine, in the smaller area, reduced hours, and so on. So
Another question for you. In North Chicago, you have the berm and then trees on the berm.
that is correct.
Here, there's just a berm so far.
So far, yes, and
And are you willing, would you be willing to plant whatever kind of evergreen or tree, evergreen maybe? I don't know what filters things best.
I'm willing to work with the forestry department. I was a certified arborist, past president of the Illinois Arbor Association, and I worked on trees for 40 years. So I have some familiarity with growing trees, and they help noise, dust, odor, and where we're at, we really can't be seen. It's kind of tucked back in, and during the construction of the roadway, as we expanded our thing, we were visible from many, parts of Aptekistick Road and going back into the subdivision. So, but that has changed, and we'll have a berm constructed, nicely planted with trees, and we'll have our little footprint if allowable.
Thank you.
How many years have you been mulching there?
At that facility, about 20.
Did the complaints increase over the last 2 years?
Yes, sir.
You had to concentrate your mulch area and the construction on Aptekissick?
That's correct. We broadened our footprint.
How significant, percentage wise, it roughly? Complaints increased by 50%, 100%?
Well, for 15 years, I didn't have any complaints after but how big of a footprint have we expanded? I would say
I'm talking about complaints.
Complaints. Okay, sorry.
Did you receive any complaints?
No, up until a year and a half, give or take. And that was we were working with the road construction contractor, and we expanded our footprint there. Yes.
Trustee Jamil, you raised your hand again? You got to unmute yourself probably. Can you unmute?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I was hearing the applicant mentioning that their source is organic. So I was just curious to ask the applicant, how do they verify whether the products are organic? Do they go over with some USDA or anything like other bodies before buying the products? Like organic materials review or some kind of a, USDA or some regulatory body which certifies your source of organic materials?
I think I understood that question or part of it. We sell 100% bulk products, so they're not bag products. There are bag products that follow different standards, and there's organizations that certify them. They're mainly soil products, compost, and things of that nature. I don't know of any mulch products that go through any type of certification, government approval, or anything like that. I hope that answered your question.
So yes, that answered me, but just a quick counter question to you. If your source of the things which you are using keep on repeating that you're using 100% organic. So I was wondering, how do we have a verification that that is organic 100%? That was my question to you.
Yeah, it's all wood chips coming in. It's all organic coming in. What comes into this site is chips that are logs that come down from trees. We take in the chips of one size, and then basically we take those chips and we make them smaller, and then that turns into the mulch. So it's all organic in, all organic out. No dyes, nothing like that. Yeah, and it's all.
We call it feedstocks. It's the raw materials that come in, and primarily from tree care contractors, municipalities, golf courses. I think, I believe it's Twin Oaks brings a lot of their materials into our site. And those materials are ground up, let sit for 3, 6, 9 months, and they're sold or they're taken off site and brought to some of our retail yards, or they go right to a nursery or somebody that's reselling them. So part of that material, though, the real fines that break down, we have tonight with us Farmer Paul that grew the giant pumpkin last year. It's what makes our soil potent. We call it rocket fuel, and it grows those giant pumpkins. So that's it's a small part, but that's how we initially started utilizing that composted material to amend our soils, because it was very heavily in clay. And each year we take a small percent and till it in and grow these big pumpkins, which are distributed through downtown. And at the last meeting, we had the president of Downtown Merchants Association, Mike Oakham, who owns quite a few stores, speak very highly on what we're doing, and would like us to continue. So thank you.
Back to the board. What's your general thinking here? Anybody want to?
I'll speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, tricky issue.
Thank you.
Appreciate the longstanding relationship that mulch centers have with Long Grove. The mitigation efforts that you're planning on taking, those are appreciated as well. We purchase mulch from you guys, and I also appreciate mulching in general, right? Health issues are obviously a very big concern. I don't know enough about it at this point, but it makes sense that there would be health issues from dust created by a center like this. The fact that you had 15 years of no complaints makes me wonder if mitigation, in fact, would correct the issues that the residents have to an extent. I'm thinking about the fact that a lot of the residents purchased when you were already, up and running. However, just on the surface, it seems like a mulch center within a residential neighborhood doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, I looked at that huge piece of equipment, and it just doesn't seem to be conducive to a residential area. There was a request that we delay voting so you complete your mitigation efforts, so we can you can demonstrate their effectiveness. Trying to figure out, what the time frame would be with that, as far as us being able to. I mean, I don't know what I could be able to ascertain if I went out there. I mean, would it be the IEPA that goes back out there and kind of gives us a report, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, probably not the IEPA, because the IEPA is what we're asking them to do is to approve our dust mitigation plan. So that, and I think we'll get that from the IEPA, but again, that may not be what you guys want to see. So we're going to have the muffler's supposed to arrive next week. It's going to take another week to install. So I would say by the end of March, we think we'd be ready to start operations up again, and would invite, whatever representative that you have, or if you want to bring a consultant out, whoever you want to come visit the site to see what the mitigation does. It's up to you, but we would invite somebody from the village, or multiple people from the village, to come out and observe the site with these mitigation procedures in ready to go. And I think that'll be by the end of March.
All right, for those reasons, my position is delaying voting. I don't want to delay long, but I think I'd like to delay at least so we can read through the packet, maybe do our due diligence a little bit more, and give these guys a chance to show us what they can do.
Yeah, we're not voting tonight, anything like that. But, the only thing the issue I have is that, and you're, definitely a good business, is that the residents, since I've been elected, have been complaining about this issue. And it wasn't until we decided to pass a resolution on the size of the mulch piles that all of this action has taken place. And I think that's my biggest issue. And it's the fact that the residents of Briarcrest primarily have been complaining since I've been in this chair. And there was a decision made by a court, and I don't know how, somebody else here can explain, that's an attorney, that basically the village tried to stop it a number of years ago. It went to court, but then it was determined that was an agricultural use and we couldn't stop the operation. And so now, all these years later, we put, an ordinance in place to limit the size of it, and that, slowed down how much could be processed and everything else. And then now this is all happening. So I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. I know that the business you're great to the Long Grove, the downtown supports you. Mike Oken, everyone else, I appreciate them so much what they're doing in the downtown, but this is the challenge of, this is next to the residents, and the residents have been coming to me for a long time. And I just want to make sure everyone knows that it wasn't until we made a change that all these things are occurring. And so I think the board wants to think about it more, but I would also, if there's any background information that I've omitted or somebody else wants to provide the board, this didn't just happen now. This has been going on for a long time. And in fact, it got worse as the operation got bigger. So that's the one thing I wanted to say here to everyone. And it's regardless of how, good of a business you are to our community, how you treat the downtown, is just the fact that you're in a residential area. They were there first. And over time, mulch has become so popular, your business has gotten bigger, and therefore it's becoming more problematic. So I just want to, make sure I made those thoughts to the board.
If somebody clarify for me that I'm understanding that the complaints rose when you got bigger.
That's correct. And it was around the time where the road construction was.
Yes. Okay. So that says to me that the scale of the operation is, as well as the odor and as well as the particulates, has intensified, and that's the crux of the problem, the current problem.
That is correct.
Have you given any thought to scaling back or being more agricultural in that location as opposed to what you had ramped up to?
Based on that drawing, we've tightened up our footprint of the mulch area quite a bit. We were working over where the farming area is. I don't know if we could put that screen up. Well, that's a very good picture to show, because if you see the house there, there's where we're currently farming is up on the right, that big fat pile, that's mulch there. That's no longer there. And the stuff above it. So everything is being moved to the west and, the footprint is, what we're proposing is a lot smaller. There's the picture of it. And there'll be a berm kind of in a similar location where that big mulch pile was. And that will be 15, 20 feet tall. So it won't be the mulch. This is kind of got its own little area isolated and a lot easier to mitigate any issues.
Thank you.
Are we at a point to stop this, or does anyone else want to make any other comments tonight?
You're looking.
I'm looking at you. You got the wheels turning up there. Something's going on.
Yeah, there is actually. Yeah. There's a family emergency going on right now, but to me, this is a residential area. I think if I'm sitting on one of the Briarcrest back patios, listening to what's essentially an industrial grinder running 8 to 5 every day or whatever the time frame is, I think I'll be quite unhappy. I already am not happy sitting in my backyard listening to 83 and Diamond Lake Road. So, I'm I kind of understand the residents' viewpoint in this case, as it is a residential area and there is some expectation of not being subject to what's essentially one big grinder sitting in the backyard. And even if you put a condom on it, I think it's still a big grinder, So I agree with Trustee Harris's comments, mostly in that, but obviously he's more eloquent than I am today. But I'm kind of siding with the residents on this one. I don't know why we'd want this big of a industrial use right in the middle of a residential neighborhood. And even if we did, we would screen the hell out of it. We would buffer it. We would berm it. We'd tree it. I don't know. I'd even put a building over the grinder if I had to, just to get this thing out of sight, out of mind, and get the dust, noise, and pollution under control. But that would be kind of an extreme case, I think. But yeah, I'm not really in favor of an industrial operation on a residential parcel. Thank you.
Trustee Tanucci.
Well, I just wanted to acknowledge the business's efforts to try to mitigate the issues. Sounds like you're running a good business. I want to acknowledge that. I also understand that mitigation is not elimination. And I agree with those who have said that this doesn't feel like an operation that belongs in a residential area. So again, your efforts are appreciated, but I really don't think this business belongs there.
I think we're at a stop here right at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
If the sense is, again, the sense that people have a general sense of how things are, we will bring this back at a future date for the village board's consideration. And you can just let me know when you're ready for us to come and take a look at it.
We're not too long because we're getting into mulching season, right? So we don't want the grinder running and, right, okay.
All right, thank you. Thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, the more exciting report's coming up right now. It's from our village engineer. He talks about roads.
Yeah.
And other things.
Thank you for that. So the engineer's report is in the board packet, a couple highlights.
Oh, you're done?
For tonight.
Oh, all done. Okay, good. That was quick. No, go ahead.
I'll make it brief. The Lake Michigan water connection, construction on that has started. The road program, decision was made that Ela Township is going to have their own road program because they're not going to be ready to bid that until May or June. So Long Grove's road program is going to get sent to IDOT later this week for their approval, so we can bid that in mid to late March, as previously discussed. Illinois Route 22.
Why did they change? Why did you change?
I think it's a function of finances, a new supervisor over there, and their fiscal year.
So how much did they slow us down by waiting?
It's going to be about 2 months.
Okay.
But Ela Township, their road program is of sufficient size. It's going to be somewhere around $750,000. So that'll be a good standalone program. Whereas in previous years, they had $300,000 of work and really benefited from the economies of scale of a joint road program. So Illinois Route 22. I suppose I've got some good news and bad news on that. At a previous board meeting, we had discussed and kind of saw that IDOT had started clearing some trees. Some is a very gross understatement. They,
Yes.
They cleared all of the trees within the right of way. We also found out, and this is the bad news, that IDOT did do the work and the tree clearing within the scenic corridor easements. And the IGA has not been formally executed yet. The good news, though, is since IDOT has started the tree clearing efforts out there, which are actually done, IDOT has produced all of the necessary documents for the village to execute the IGA. So those are in final review from both our office and Vic's office. So that's the good news. So hopefully we can get that done in short order. So some things were done out of sequence on here. IDOT did admit that to us, but hopefully we can get all the documents in order so that way the rest of the project can go smoothly.
Super unhappy. You know, it's go ahead, mow it down, and then say, oh, we're sorry. What are they going to do about it? That's baloney. That's a scenic corridor. And we specifically asked about that, and they said, no problem.
So
now the trees are down.
So IDOT had said that they would not clear the trees within the scenic corridors until the village released the rights. The tree clearing that has occurred out there is in conformance with the plans that IDOT had prepared and submitted to the village as recent as earlier this week, last week, and has been shown on their plans for years. So they didn't take down any trees that they weren't going to and weren't part of the scenic corridor impacts that they had. And those scenic corridor impacts were what the village used to negotiate and get IDOT to plant some additional plantings. So all of that was a trade-off. So the area that they impacted, they did agree to plant some additional trees. You know, another way to say it, if they would have impacted more of the scenic corridor, the village would have asked for more trees, but it was a balance of here's how much we're impacting, here's how many trees we're going to put back. Yep. Oh, is there any other questions on Route 22? I know that's been a.
So all the trees are
certainly
cleared now, right? They're done?
Yep, they're done.
Yeah, it kind of looked that way.
Yeah.
Are those going
I
to?
think there's a couple.
Yeah, don't ask that question. Don't go there.
Yeah, there's a couple token trees that still need to come down, but I would say 99% is done. Then the only other update I would make is just on the permitting side, Karen's Corner came back to the village. We took a look at that in conformance with and reviewed that as related to conformance with the previously approved annexation agreement, PUD agreement, things of that nature. So they're working through getting a permit for the build out of that subdivision, but they're still a little ways away from that. So those are the updates I had tonight. If there's any questions, happy to take them.
All right, no questions. All right. We'll move along to the president and trustee reports. The only thing that I noticed is that they're inching closer to connecting our subdivision to Lake Michigan water. I got a postcard in the mail because we're on the Lake County well system, and the combination of what's going on with Hawthorne Woods, et cetera, Lake County is planning to take us off the well and connect us to Lake Michigan water. So I have no clue how that's going to impact our water rates either. It's not like they're cheap now, but that's one of the plans. So anyways, just thought I'd mention that's relative to water, because I'm one of the few that has a public water system in my neighborhood, so. Yeah, that's the end of my report. Trustee Browski, anything?
No report, but certainly that exemplifies the need to complete our water study so that we can see where else we can run water, Mr. President.
There you go. Well, thank you for that feedback.
No report, thank you.
Trustee Harris.
Briefly, when I first started as trustee, one of the things I wanted to focus on was resident safety. I heard Trustee Tanucci talk about, the safety on 83 and limited enforcement. I think limited enforcement is just a reality that our village has to deal with. We don't have a large police force, obviously, and I'm actually all for that. But I had a scare with my wife yesterday and our 2 French bulldogs running on Tall Oaks on our road, on our street. And we had to jump off the road to avoid a Tesla that was going about 60 miles an hour. And, we have small kids. My 10-year-old is actually here. Obviously, no sidewalks in most of the communities here. But I would like to revisit speed tables, or something, maybe some more radar signs, something, maybe some like children, playing area, blind turn signs. There's really none of that in the neighborhoods, our neighborhood or the neighborhoods surrounding us. And so I'd like to address that in a future meeting.
Well, there's a perfect opportunity. We have a budget workshop.
Perfect.
That might be a line item for the budget.
Be great.
Yep. Thank you. Trustee Jamil is no longer here. Trustee O'Connor.
Not a big update, but Jeff and I were talking about pathways again today and where to get the money to further them. So we're working on it. We're not getting much money out of.
It's another budget workshop item.
Yeah.
Well, be a fun discussion. All right. Anything else?
No, that's the end of report.
All right. Trustee Tanucci.
Oh, yeah, actually, the first item in my neighborhood report was an interest in connecting neighborhoods. So that's pathways. No report from me.
All right. Thank you. Village Manager Sparkman.
A bridge would do that.
There you go.
A couple bridges in this town would do that.
Village Manager Sparkman says he wants a bridge.
Over Diamond Lake Road, perhaps?
Down where?
Over Diamond Lake Road.
There you go, over Diamond Lake Road. There's another one, another spot. All right, so with that, I think we're at the end of the meeting. I am looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Trustee O'Connor, seconded by Trustee Harris. All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Good night, everyone. Thank you.